No,
You're sitting as a quasi-judicial body.
we're done. Okay. Let's move on to the next item. 11, letter in support of Elko. Move on to the next item, letter in support of Elko County multiple use efforts. Elko County Commissioner Demar Dahl and Randy Brown. Randy Brown is here, who's the Elko County Director of Planning, Zoning, Natural Resource Management. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. For the record, I'm Randy Brown, Director of Planning, Zoning, Natural Resource Management. I'm here today to represent Elko County. I apologize for Commissioner Dahl's not being here today. He had some pressing business. He couldn't make it. However, I will proceed and try to explain exactly what we're asking for. As you are aware, I'm sure the U.S. Forest Service has began the process of travel management throughout Nevada and the western states and the nation as far as that goes. The Humboldt Toiyabe National Forest in Elko County is slated for the next travel management process. Many of these processes have already been created and implemented in the state of Nevada. There's been many thousands of roads, of miles of roads closed, many trails closed. Much of the Humboldt Toiyabe National Forest right now excludes and will not permit large game retrieval. Elko County has taken it upon itself and gone on the offense, considering our plan in Elko County, which incorporates the Mountain City, Jarbidge, and Ruby Mountain Rangers. And at this point in time, we're in a process with the U.S. Forest Service to hope to negotiate some of these problems and issues out. It really doesn't seem that we're going to get very far with the Forest Service. What we're asking for is your support, not only for us, for Elko County, but for the state of Nevada. Like I said, many of these plans have been implemented, but they are on a 1 or 2 year requirement to be reviewed. We are looking to extend the requirements or get rid of the requirements that off-road game retrieval or off-road travel, motorized travel, be eliminated from the forest. In Elko County alone, if off-road travel is eliminated, you're restricting access to approximately 960,000 acres of public lands. That's just in Elko County alone. That's not statewide. We're asking for your support and your help in the consideration of this. The Forest Service has drafted an environmental impact statement stating that motorized traffic is detrimental to the health and welfare of mule deer herds. It causes numerous problems within the forest as far as habitat. We are actually at this point in time, we have formed a committee with in Elko County. We have a lot of environmentalists in Elko County due to the mines, and we have a lot of input from these people as well. We are actually looking at refuting their data that they've provided to us, saying that this is an issue that causes habitat issues, or negative habitat issues within Elko County or within any national forest. At this point, like I said, we're in a 6-month period that we will be providing an alternative and upgrading our public land use policy plans to help the Forest Service or help reverse the Forest Service's initiative to prohibit, I guess is the only word that I can think of, multiple uses on public lands.
Excellent. First, before we get into the commission with questions, I'd like to have some public comment on this, and then we'll come back to the commission. Public comment. We have one from Mr. Wellington.
Just real quick, Ken Wellington for the record, Elko County. In our recommendations, we had a problem with bullet points 8 and 9. Mr. Brown was unable to make our meeting to explain intent on that, but I spoke to him here and it cleared up my vote. I can't say the rest of my board because I haven't brought it back, but it cleared up the questions that were brought up at our meeting, just for information. We're good with those. I'm good with those bullets now, personally.
Any other public comment? Mr. Dixon.
This is Paul Dixon, Clark County. Because we only had just the proposal but none of the backup letters or other things at the time, and I've since read those like Ken Wellington here, I can say that the discussion that we had at our board, and Commissioners Howe and Schrum were there, I think the concern was we wanted to make sure that what was being described for Elko County, how it applied to the other counties, what the plans that they wanted to do for multiple use in Elko County, how that would, if applied in Elko County, affect other counties in the state like Clark County. And without the proper backup, we couldn't make that. And so I would like to say that what I've read and learned here would alleviate me personally, but like Ken Wellington, I can't say that my whole board or the public would agree with that, but it would probably be something that I would like to bring back to the board when we had all the information. The information timing just came out wrong. And for you as chairman, based on knowing how these meetings have been going in the last, I'd say 30 months, with the ability to get out stuff when Clark County holds their meeting early, when we set our meeting schedule for 2011 and beyond, in collaboration with the Commissioners Howe and Schrum, we basically moved our meeting to be the week of your meeting, like most of the other cabs now, such that we shouldn't have this problem as we go into the future starting in 2011. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Glad we can have some resolution on that. Mr. Bunch.
Glenn Bunch, Mineral County. I've been bringing this problem to a lot of you board members in the past that it's been coming at us with the Forest Service, BLM, and other agencies has been trying to tighten down a lot of the outgoing areas for off-road travel and vehicular travel. And we hope that maybe this is, if the state comes online with this, possibly, hopefully other counties will also come online with this, and we can help slow down some of the onslaught of the rules that's coming at us. The non-sensible rules, like they're closing roads, a power line road in Mineral County that is to be used only by the power company, that no one else can drive on that road even though it's a maintained road. Those are the things that's coming out. It makes you wonder about it. We've been using the power line road out 359, the dirt road, but it parallels the highway. The hunters go out, they hunt the chucker and the game on it. But Forest Service has said, no, that's a power line road, you can't use it anymore. So there's things like that that this statement, I think, addresses, and I'm glad to see it out there. Thank you.
Excellent. Let's see, George Corner had a card. And we'll see if there's anyone else.
George Corner, representing Nevada and Outfitters and Guides Association, and the association supported going to the full AIS, and we're behind Elko County in their efforts. We did have some concerns over some of the language in the proclamation I've seen, and that was, it sounded like we wanted to close all roads, or not close any roads, pardon me. And we feel that there are roads that need to be closed, and also from the language it appeared that we're asking that we be allowed to travel anywhere on the public lands. And that was some of the other board meetings I attended, that was a concern that was brought up to just the language. The intent we support completely.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing on this matter. Bring it back to the commission. Mr. Schrum, go ahead.
This seems to be an ongoing problem. I've noticed it more and more lately, and especially because it's, especially because it's coming into hunting season. I've been out and around. I'm a hunter. I go out and walk around, and I find more and more areas, not just in Clark County, but in Lincoln County, Nye County, where access roads have been blocked off. What used to have cattle guards now have gates and padlocks on them. I'm finding more and more roads with signs on them, restricted travel. I'm finding more and more signs saying no ATVs, no Jeeps. I'm getting older, and even when I was younger, you know, if you've got an elk or a deer down, you have to have some way to get it out, and you're going to lose a lot of meat if you have to go ahead and try to quarter it and pack it out. That's the last elk I shot took 3 horses to get it out of the area I was in. And I think we need to either form a committee or have a resolution or something to look into this matter, because not just the hunters, but the people who hike and fish and enjoy the outdoors, something's going on here, because we're losing access to areas that we had before. The bird hunters. I was out the last 2 weeks. I've probably put about pretty close to 1,000 miles on my vehicle just looking, and places where I used to go. The Demar range, well, it's no longer available. Gold Butte, you go up to Gold Butte now, the people up there that's supposedly friends of Gold Butte and friends of Timbuktu and Lord knows what all, are going together and they're trying to turn these things into wilderness areas, and when they do that, it cuts our access, it takes away our rights or privileges, however you care to put it, but they're restricting us, and it's not right, and if we don't do something, we're going to really lose. And I think we should, I don't know the proper steps to form a committee or who we have to see, but we need to look into this matter and get an answer as to why these access roads and trails are being blocked off. If they don't put a gate across them and padlock them, they go ahead and come in with a backhoe and dig trenches across them. They put logs in there, they put boulders in there. Sometimes there's a sign saying no access, and the best one, and I was telling other people that the best one I've seen was down in California when we were hiking an area down there out in the middle of nowhere. There was a sign stuck in the road that said no hang gliding. And so it's getting ridiculous, but we will all have to do something, but it's getting more and more prevalent.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I can answer a question for him. The reason that the Forest Service and the BLM are looking at this is an initiative that was actually a CFR 36-212 was written in the Nixon years. And it was actually addressed to the Forest Service and the BLM public management agencies to provide mapping to the public land user as to which lands could be, or which roads could be utilized and things like that. I can answer that. And what I feel right now is happening with the U.S. Forest Service and the BLM it's prohibition. Plain and simple. It's stopping the public from using and utilizing public lands in multiple uses. And in my mind, and I think many others' minds, that this is a poor way to manage our lands. There are other methods. Prohibition is the easiest. It actually turns land management into police actions, which I don't believe that we need more police actions in the United States. And that's my take on the whole situation.
Excellent. We have Mr. Pearl and then Mr. Macbeth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading the proposed resolution that is before us, it would apply to all public lands in the state of Nevada, not just in Elko too, which frankly I agree with, because as with my good friend Mr. Schramm here, I've been out and around various places, and I agree there are some areas where there have been trails put in where they really may not have needed to be put in. But the government's answer to it, the federal's answer to everything is let's close them all. And even when they say, well, we'll leave 2 or 3, it seems, and the Sheldon's probably the best example I can give on that, they basically have locked off areas that are no longer available to the older guys like Hal and me. because to even hunt in there, you'd have to hike in 3 or 4 miles. So in my mind, the way this resolution is structured pretty much answers those questions relative to leaving those roads that are currently open and that make sense open and allow people the use of it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McBeth?
Mr. Brown, is this, I assume that the county drafted this resolution, right?
Yes, sir, at request.
Okay, and so is this your wish list, or is this what you want us to approve and there's no negotiation as to the language?
Sir, it was written just as an offerance of what we feel, what our issues are with Forest Service and BLM. It's by no ways and means written in stone. These are just issues that we're dealing with.
And some of the even your own Elko County constituents think it may be a little bit broad, and so if we if it would be more palatable to the commission to scale back a bit, is that something that the county would be agreeable to, or do you have to take it back to them and get approval, or
no, sir? This was actually prepared in my office. It basically addresses the issues that we're undertaking with the U.S. Forest Service right now. It is a wish list, I guess, is the way you would look at it. I can explain or offer a little more information on something you have an issue with on it. Maybe that'll clear up some thoughts that you have.
Well, this has been going along. The ATV issue has been going on a long time,
yes, sir.
and they're it just seems that the proliferation of ATV use and the amount of new trails that are going in each year, as these very powerful vehicles, penetrate further and further. I'm more concerned about the continued use, of these. I'm not so worried about, one-time, retrieval of a deer or an elk. Mm-hmm. But it seems that, we gotta cut it off someplace, and I think that that time is probably even maybe, years back, because, okay. in the area that I was familiar with, mostly, there was an ATV trail on every single ridge and the bottom of every wash, and it's just gotten, out of hand. And while I'm more mobile than maybe and younger than a lot of the other commissioners, that's a big issue with a lot of hunters, and so there's a flip side to this coin that there's got to be some limits, and so anyway, I'm just curious,
Well, yeah, I can address that a little bit. Actually, within the prohibition that the Forest Service and BLM is proposing, they're doing so without any physical or environmental knowledge. These are all assumptions. And basically, I agree with what you're saying. We're all conservationists. And I think most of hunters and sportsmen are good conservationists. What we're seeing in Elko County and other parts of the Humboldt Toiyabe is those trails are not necessarily as prevalent as one would think. They may be more prevalent on BLM lands, the lower lands outside of the forest and outside the timber lines. But what we're seeing in the forest areas is we're seeing just exactly what you're talking about, the game retrieval, the person that wants to get out, and maybe you'll find 1 in 100 that'll want to go out to nowhere on his ATV and camp for the weekend. Does that necessarily constitute a trail? I don't believe so. I believe you see it goes in, a person goes in and camps, comes back out. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a trail created. The Forest Service, however, does not see that as being such. They believe that once someone goes in cross country across without roads being there, as trailblazing, and there's evidence to dispute that. The Forest Service has done no monitoring on those types of uses. However, in Elko County, we do monitor a lot of things that are happening. One of the things that we see is we don't see that, as like I said, as much as you would see a person staying on the roads. You'll see maybe 1 in 100 will go off that road to go somewhere out on the backwoods. Or you'll see someone out there going to get their game. and is a tool. We've also done a lot of research on the new technology in ATVs. The footprint is not what it once was. Although the ATVs are getting bigger, they are getting stronger, they're getting more powerful, the footprint is less than what they were at one time because of technology and differences in the suspension systems. If you go out and you spend $12,000, $13,000 for a vehicle, you don't want to take it through sagebrush. You're going to go around that sagebrush. And these are things that we're finding more and more people are doing versus, just virtually going out and breaking trails. We have a lot of ATVers there in Elko County. We have a lot of clubs, and we have a lot of clubs come down. We discuss these issues a lot. So, it's not like we're not sure what's going on. We just feel that the Forest Service is not being a land manager. They're being a police service by closing off many, many, many thousands of acres of land. And as you said, people are getting older. The hunting and sportsmen, we are getting older. We're not seeing many younger ones coming in behind us. So those uses are more curtailed to us older people. And does that mean that we can no longer do it? I'll be willing to bet you about 40 to 60% would say, guess what, we can't hunt anymore. Or no, we can't enjoy the forest the way we used to because we can't get to the places we want to go. And those are the things we're trying to avoid. Those are the things that we're trying to get the Forest Service to realize.
Okay, I guess my final comment would be is that I don't know if I can support this in its current form, but if changes were made along the lines of the statements by the Nevada Guides and Outfitters Association, as well as the Elko County Advisory Board, that would be a little bit more palatable.
One of the things we are writing is, so you know, is we're wanting to stay with the tread lightly theme as well. We're willing to stay with that theme, but we also want to ensure, just like I said, that when I'm 80 years old, I can go to the place I went to when I was 50 and be able to get there and camp and then go back home. Again, like I said, the tread lightly theme is something that we are incorporating into our alternative and we are looking at. So.
Okay, Mr. Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Brown, I see on here that Demar Dahl signed on to this as a commissioner. Did the full commission vote on it actually?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The full commission has voted. We've actually formed a Forest Service, what we call the Travel Management Committee, which is Commissioner Dahl, Commissioner Russell, the county manager, Rob Stokes, and myself. We've been meeting and dealing with the Forest Service for about 19 months on this issue. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, down here we have Mr. Vogler.
Fellow commissioners, I'd just like to say that the Constitution and the way our government was formed a very long time ago was the most functional and best government was the government that was closest to the people. And rather than have somebody in Washington, D.C. tell us how we should manage our lands here in Nevada, when I think Nevada citizens are responsible enough to at least have the majority vote or the biggest seat at the table on Nevada lands, I'm certainly going to support Elko County's request.
All right. I'd just like to state that I really liked seeing this come before our commission. This is the type of stuff that Department of Wildlife should be doing. I think everybody here agrees that, you should tread lightly. However, we should be able to tread. And that's kind of what's becoming the problem. What good is hunting if you can't access the land? What good is fishing if you have to ride a horse in 6 hours to get to the lake? How do you maintain the guzzlers? How do you do anything to manage the land? And this is the type of stuff I think the commission should really be doing. Glad to see it's here. I appreciate Elko County in putting this forward. Has clearly been doing some great wordsmithing on it. Looks good. We have Mr. Capurro has comment and ready. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt the resolution characterized as number 11 on our agenda, State of Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners Resolution supporting Elko County. regarding the Humboldt Toiyabe National Forest and all public lands in Elko County and the state of Nevada.
It's been properly moved and seconded to pass this resolution as presented. Is there any further discussion? We have discussion down here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kevin.
I just had a question on the second page or the back page, the third bullet point. I think maybe there's a word missing or something that maybe we need a little clarification. It's talking about, it says, supports the ability to develop new dispersed campsites, including but not limited to campsites where reasonable of any.
Yeah, it should be OFF, off of.
Oh.
Off of any U.S. Forest Service designated road.
So it was a suggestion to insert the word where reasonable and then insert off before of. Is that acceptable to the maker of the motion? And second? Okay. Any further discussion before I restate the motion? Okay, go ahead.
I had a question, Randy. What effect do you think this will have? You think it'll do anything?
I think it's a huge step for all of us. We've been working with NACO. We've been working with Cattlemen's Association. We wanted to work with this board. I think we've gone on the offense on this one. We're not on our heels on the defense like we have in the past. We're forcing the Forest Service to back up and look at us. We're hiring people to do economic impact studies for us. We have environmental engineers working for us in the county, refuting some of the statements. We have a lot of issues with goshawks, pygmy rabbits, so forth and so on. And the data that we're gathering completely refutes what the Forest Service is implementing and what they're trying to implement. They want to create seasonal closures on a lot of roads. They want to stop us from using specific roads for certain items. And one of the things when I first started this whole process, which was back in January 2009, was submitted maps from the Forest Service. There was approximately 2,000 miles of roads that they were excluding from the systems, from our system. And when this was brought to their attention, that 2,000 miles went from exactly 2,000 miles or better to approximately 118. So I think we have gone a long ways. And I'm going to continue to press the issue with the off-road travel. My primary need for this is exactly what you would be concerned about, is game retrieval. However, I don't want to limit ourselves, and I don't want to limit anyone in the state. You know, people do have a right to a choice. If you have 10 horses that you take off in your backpack, it's going to create as much of a footprint as any ATV. And my feeling is, and I think the feeling of the board is, that it's not a matter of what you're driving, it's a choice of how you access, how you utilize public lands in the state of Nevada. It all comes down to the civil rights issues. And I think we are getting somewhere. And I believe that the board we have right now is willing to take this as far as they need to take it. This is one of the last ones that's being implemented in the western states. We like to think it's because we're fighters, and they wanted to wait for us to last because they didn't want to take us on in the beginning. But we're hoping that whatever we can do will set a precedence to reverse things that have already happened throughout the West, whether it be Elko County, White Pine County, Nye, Douglas, wherever it may be. Maybe it can reverse their issues. In White Pine County, I know they've closed thousands of miles of roads that for many years I've used for hunting, and they're no longer open. And we're just, like I said, we're trying to not only work for ourselves, but we're also trying to work for the state of Nevada. So, yes, I believe we are.
Okay, any further comments on the motion? Go ahead.
Have you pretty much exhausted identifying all revised statute 2477 roads, and I mean, so this is over and above that? Is that?
We're working on that same issue with RS 2477. The Forest Service has been pretty amenable as to what they've looked at as RS 2477. We really haven't disputed that issue too much. The only issues that we have are some of the mining roads that were created pre-76 do classify as RS-2477, but they were also part of a mining plan and a reclamation plan. So we may, those are issues we'll have to look at and say, you know, draw a line and say, yeah, those are health and safety issues and close them, you know, that type of situation. We don't want to leave those types of roads open that are detrimental to the health and safety of the public.
All right. Motion, okay. Question on the motion, comment?
No, just a quick comment. You cannot pick and choose, as some of the people have. FLPMA and NEPA both talk about local, custom, and culture.
Absolutely.
And any county commission in this state has more knowledge of the county than somebody in Washington, D.C., or some advocacy group with 44 cents in an envelope. And I recommend that for our own benefit, for our own state's benefit, we take a proactive stance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments on the motion? The motion is to approve the resolution stated as item number 11. Back page, third paragraph, insert the word off between the words reasonable and of, so that it states where reasonable off of any U.S. Forest Service designated road, semicolon and. Everybody understand the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you. Anything else we can do for Elko County or any other county, please bring before us. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right.